Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Before I start, I must congratulate Suhail Seth for opposing the motion in a way that he has condemned intolerance and supported tolerance. Thank you, Mr. Seth. Anyway, let me start. I'll start with an incident which happened in the state of Kerala in the 60s. You see, in a school in Kerala, national anthem was sung. And three school children, they respectfully stood up to the anthem, but they did not sing. Initially, the school authorities overlooked it till it caught the notice of a patriotic gentleman who happened to be a member of the Legislative Assembly. He raised it in the Assembly, and ultimately the students were expelled. They challenged it before the courts, and in Supreme Court, the children succeeded. And the learned judges of the Supreme Court said that these children, as Jehovah's Witness, they are permitted only to sing in prayers to their God, Jehovah, and in no other occasion. This right they had under Articles 19 and 25 of the Constitution. In upholding the rights of the children, the Supreme Court made a very prophetic statement in its concluding part of the judgment, which I am just reading out to you. The Supreme Court said, and I quote, "Our tradition teaches tolerance. Our philosophy preaches tolerance. Our constitution practices tolerance. Let us not dilute it. In the wake of aggressive nationalism of the present scenario, this may sound a little strange to many ears, but this is the crux of tolerance in our Constitution. In our Constitution, you must have known, there is a preamble, which is the substance of the constitutional philosophy. And in the preamble, the greatest emphasis has been given on individual dignity. And individual dignity has been equated with the unity and integrity of the nation. The framers of our Constitution thought, and rightly so, that you cannot have a unified, strong nation if you denude the citizens of their dignity. Now, you cannot allow the citizens to maintain their dignity if you rob them of their basic freedoms. If today I become answerable for eating a particular food to some people, or if my house is raided for storing beef, or if I am traveling in a train, my things are searched to find out whether I am carrying beef in the train or not. Where is my dignity? Where is my moral autonomy? Where is my freedom? This is what is happening today, and we condemn this as acts of intolerance. Now, if I become an anti-national by raising a slogan in a campus, or if I become anti-national by supporting somebody's cause which may be unpopular, then that is a clear sign of intolerance. And that intolerance is virtually prevailing in the country. Now, the present hysteria which is raised about some students and about some university campus is something which is prompted by clear lack of thinking. And there is nothing known as anti-national. Nobody knows what is meant by anti-national. The word is selectively applied on the basis of subjective opinion of those who are in power. Now, unfortunately today, I am sorry to say, Mr. Seth has already said there are some stupid ministers in the Council of Ministers. I am not saying anybody is stupid, but I am saying that those who have knowledge about India's rich cultural heritage have no power. And those who have that power have no knowledge of the cultural heritage of India. Now look at the question of freedom of speech, which is very important. Supreme Court has defined it very categorically in that Sneha Sehgal's case, where the Supreme Court said that your freedom of speech consists of three elements. First is discussion. It may be a very unpopular thought, but right to discussion is included within your fundamental rights. Discussion, advocacy, you can advocate this cause to another person. But when it reaches the stage of incitement, then you are transgressing beyond your rights. Till it reaches the stage of incitement or some violence, right of discussion, right of advocacy are both within the parameters of constitutional fundamental rights and has to be tolerated. Now, we do not see, nobody has said that there was any violence in the campus of JNU when the discussions were going on. But even then, they are clamped with charges under sedition. The same thing is true of sedition. This has been clearly explained by Supreme Court in Kedarnath's case, that unless your criticism of the government's work is so violent that it leads to a disruption of public order, sedition charges cannot be slapped. Today I find this Kanhaiya has been charged with sedition charges. I think he is in good company with both Tilak and Gandhi. They were tried for seditious trial. You must have seen that. Now, if I may say in this connection, if I quote Tagore for a minute, what he said about nationalism, I'm just quoting it. He said this when we were not free, when we didn't have our independence. It is my conviction that my countrymen will gain their India by fighting against the education which teaches them that a country is greater than the ideals of humanity. At times, nationalism is a great menace. Now, if Tagore had been alive today, those who are in power might have booked him under charges of sedition. Now, the question here is this. You must, what Voltaire said, I take that to be the real crux of tolerance. Voltaire said that I may not agree with what you say, but will fight to death to support your right to say that. Now, where is that? This gentleman, this Kanhaiya, when he's produced in court, he's manhandled in the presence of the judge. And some political party chiefs are saying he has done a thing which is no pious thing. The gentleman who has done it should be felicitated. Now, this is the kind of intolerance which is now sweeping across the various educational institutions. Now, do you expect the university students to be patriotic morons? Do they have no right to challenge things? What about Afzal Guru's execution? I am saying as a judge, the way the execution took place, his clemency petition was rejected on 3rd February and the execution took place on 9th February. This is wrong. Without giving him the rights under Article 21, he has the right to challenge it. His family members have a right to be informed about it. The human rights is there. It's still there as long as the noose is not tightened around his neck. What about how his body was cremated? What about his last rites? Now, if anybody questions that, does he become anti-national? If one person raises a slogan, he becomes anti-national and is subject to all kinds of torture. And the way the bail order has been given to this Kanhaiya by the learned judge speaks very badly of our judiciary. I'm very sorry. Judiciary has also come under pressure. What is happening in this country? I condemn intolerance in any form. I think without tolerance we cannot have cultural pluralism, nor can we have multicultural existence in India. India is not meant for these intolerant people. Thank you.
नमस्कार. मैं माफ़ी चाहता हूँ, मैं हिंदी में बोलना चाहूँगा. मैं हिंदी में सोचता हूँ और अगर बीच में मेरे अंग्रेज़ी निकल जाए तो आपकी किस्मत अच्छी है. मैं बहुत कुछ सोच के आया था. मैं ये बोलूँगा, आई विल नॉट मेक इट पर्सनल, आई विल नॉट मेक इट एंटी बीजेपी, आई विल नॉट मेक ए लिस्ट ऑफ पीपल व्हाट ऑल हैज़ गॉन रॉन्ग बाय द अदर, बट I'm shocked and ashamed and saddened by what you said, Mr. Ganguly. Being a judge, it's so sad that you are calling the verdict of Supreme Court was wrong. It's so sad that you have to say that. It's a matter of complete disgrace that you were hounded by the press and you were intolerant of them when there was a case against you. And today, you talk about that what happened in JNU was right? Very sorry, sir. Let me ask you one question. We are totally forgetting and we are making a hero out of one guy who was participant in the night of 9th February. And what were the naras that were going on over there? गुस्से में अंग्रेजी निकल आई, सॉरी. क्या नारे हो रहे थे वहां पर? भारत की बर्बादी. वहां क्या नारे हो रहे थे? अफजल गुरु हम शर्मिंदा हैं, तेरे कातिल जिंदा हैं. कौन थे उसके कातिल? सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जजेस उसके कातिल थे क्या? कि भारत तेरे टुकड़े होंगे इंशाअल्लाह इंशाअल्लाह. ये बात थी. Instead of condemning it, you are saying that Supreme Court was wrong and that the Afzal Guru's judgment was wrong. It's absolutely unpardonable, Your Honor. No, you can't speak in between, sir. Let me finish. I'm sorry. It's my time. You are talking about, Surjewala ji, you talked about full list of, you have prepared a list of what BJP spoke about. You forgot that 84 emergency was declared by Indira Gandhi, your leader, sir. That was the biggest intolerance in the country ever. All those people were jailed who spoke about against the people who were innocent, people who were journalists, people who were talking about anything. There were whisper campaigns. They were all put behind bars, including my grandfather. You are talking about one by one. You totally forgot. Unfortunately, you know what I think, who is the most tolerant people in this country is Congress. They're tolerating a person who they want to project as a Prime Minister of this country and can't even say to each other that we are wrong. We are so sorry. This is our Prime Ministerial candidate. Means they must be talking to each other. क्या करें? फंस गए, कहाँ फंस गए हम लोग भाई? That is the tolerance that you have shown. But show that tolerance once in Parliament and let the Parliament function, sir. If you can tolerate that person, then you can tolerate anything in the world. You know, this is ridiculous. We have, when I was, आप में से किसी ने भी tolerance word को पिछले 8 महीनों से पहले सुना था या इंटॉलरेंस को? नहीं सुना था. ये मार्केट किया गया है क्योंकि ये हार जो शिकस्त हुई है इतनी बुरी तरह से ऑपोजिशन वालों की, उस शिकस्त का बदला लिया जा रहा है. कैसे लें बदला? प्राइम मिनिस्टर पूरी मेजॉरिटी से जीता है. 282 सीटें आई हैं. एक चाय वाला प्राइम मिनिस्टर बन गया. कैसे बन गया? हम तो गुलाम हैं. हम तो गुलामी की आदत है. हमें अंग्रेजों से, मुगलों से और अब बाहर के कुछ लोगों से हमें गुलामी की आदत है. ये कैसे बन गया प्राइम मिनिस्टर भाई? प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने पिछले 2 साल से या पौने 2 से आज तक छुट्टी नहीं ली है. आई एम नॉट एडवोकेटिंग हिम. आई एम जस्ट स्पीकिंग ऑन अ बिहाफ ऑफ एज अ सिटीजन ऑफ दिस कंट्री. People say that you are talking about Mr. Modi because your wife is a BJP. I'm married to Kiran for the last 30 years. I don't have to prove my loyalty to her by talking on behalf of BJP. आपसे बर्दाश्त नहीं होता है कि हमारा प्राइम मिनिस्टर विदेश में जाकर, आपने बर्दाश्त किया 10 साल एक ऐसे प्राइम मिनिस्टर को जो चुप रहा. 10 साल आपने एक ऐसे प्राइम मिनिस्टर को बर्दाश्त किया सरकार. और हमारा प्राइम मिनिस्टर जो है आज बाहर के मुल्कों में जाकर, जब मैं बाहर कहता हूं क्या बात है आपका प्राइम मिनिस्टर बहुत डायनामिक है, नॉट बिकॉज ही स्पीक्स वेल, बिकॉज ही टॉक्स अबाउट द आइडिया ऑफ इंडिया. ही हैज नॉट टेकन अ सिंगल हॉलीडे एंड हिज दिवाली इज ऑलवेज स्पेंट इन कश्मीर. ही इज द ओनली प्राइम मिनिस्टर हु हैज विजिटेड कश्मीर थ्राइस ऑन अ दिवाली डे. ये आपसे बर्दाश्त नहीं होता है. सो लेट्स कॉइन अ वर्ड. let's try and sort of get our think tank together. What should we do? We can't, because भ्रष्टाचार की बात ही नहीं हो रही है. पिछले 2 साल से भ्रष्टाचार की कोई बात हुई है क्या? और पिछले 10 साल से सिर्फ भ्रष्टाचार की बात हुई. 2G, 3G, ये जी, वो जी, ओ जी, यही बातें होती नहीं. अब भ्रष्टाचार की बात नहीं हो रही है, तो क्या करें? कैसे कोई ऐसा वर्ड निकालें और पूरी दुनिया में फैला दें? We got the word. Let's say that he is intolerant. फैलाओ इसको, फैलाओ इसको, फैलाओ इसको. Tolerant, intolerant. So much so that Dada has to talk about intolerance in this Kolkata club. This is a no debate, sir. People are tolerant. You know who are talking about intolerance? The intellectuals, the rich, the famous who travel with 20 bodyguards and talk about intolerance. If you ask about a man on the street, भैया intolerance और क्या intolerance, उससे भी difficult वर्ड है असहिष्णुता. भैया हमारे को 2 वक्त की रोटी मिल जाए वही बड़ी बात है, मुझे नहीं बात करनी है intolerance. मैं तो काम करता हूं अपना. तो जो 5-star होटल्स में जो वो कल्चर है, जो डायमंड के स्टड्स पहनते हैं, मैं उनको आई डोंट होल्ड दैट अगेंस्ट देम. वो लोग बैठ के शैंपेन का गिलास सिप करते हुए बात करते हैं, इंडिया हैज बिकम सच एन इंटॉलरेंट कंट्री. अरे आप हिंदुस्तान में बात कर रहे हो, कलकत्ता में बात कर रहे हो या अमेरिका में बात कर रहे हो? We have a presidential candidate in America who says that Muslims should be thrown out of this country. That is frightening. That is intolerance. If you heard the speech of the Prime Minister recently, he said, पार्टीज आती रहेंगी, पार्टीज जाती रहेंगी, लेकिन देश जो है वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. देश की बात करते हैं हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर, और आपने उसको बाहर का आदमी बना रखा है. सर वो आपके भी प्राइम मिनिस्टर हैं और चुनकर आए हैं. आपसे भीख मांग के नहीं बोलेंगे मुझे प्राइम मिनिस्टर बना दो. उन लोगों ने जो कैंपेन किया था, जिन लोगों ने कि प्राइम मिनिस्टर को, नरेंद्र मोदी साहब को वीजा अमेरिका का नहीं मिलना चाहिए, उन सबको असहिष्णुता नजर आ रही है. बिकॉज वो तो बन गए प्राइम मिनिस्टर, और उनको वीजा क्या, उनको अमेरिका ने हाथों हाथ लिया, रेड कार्पेट बिछाया, वो गले लगाते हैं ओबामा साहब को. उस पर भी तकलीफ, मुझ पर भी तकलीफ. तो जो भी उसके फेवर में बोले, लेट अस कॉल हिम, लेट अस मेक हिम इनक्रेडिबल, लेट अस मेक हिम दैट, उसकी क्रेडिबिलिटी को खत्म कर दो. अनुपम खेर मार्च निकालते हैं स्वतंत्रता के लिए, हिंदुस्तान के बारे में मार्च निकालते, बोल दो ये तो चमचा है. अनुपम खेर को पद्म भूषण मिलता है, बोलता है इसलिए मिलता है क्योंकि चमचा है. बड़े बड़े लेख लिखे जा रहे हैं. आई नेवर थॉट आई वाज सो इंपॉर्टेंट अ पर्सन. एडिटोरियल लिखे जा रहे हैं. सर, टू यू सर, आप बोलते हैं एंटी नेशनल, और 46 साल के आदमी को आप यूथ आइकॉन बोलते हैं? नहीं सर. जिस दिन राहुल गांधी साहब, मैं चाह रहा था नाम न लूं लेकिन नाम लेना जरूरी है, जिस दिन राहुल गांधी साहब नरेंद्र मोदी के 1/10 भी होंगे, मेरा वोट उनको जाएगा. 5 साल तो दीजिए, काम तो करने दीजिए देश के लिए. 5 साल के बाद निकाल दीजिए बाहर. 5 साल के बाद कहिए हमको ऐसी इंटॉलरेंट सरकार नहीं चाहिए, नहीं चाहिए हमें ऐसी सरकार, निकल जाएंगे. 5 साल काम तो करने दीजिए. आप ये क्या बीड़ा उठा रखा आपने सिर पर? हम तो मैं प्रूव करके रखेंगे, यहां के नेता ने ऐसा. अरे सर, आपके एमपी ने बोला था किसी दूसरे एमपी को देखकर, श्री दिग्विजय सिंह ने, कि क्या टंच माल है. इससे ज्यादा घटिया बात क्या हो सकती है? मैं वो प्रिपेयर करके नहीं आया हूं लिस्ट कि आपके लोगों ने क्या क्या बोला है. आई एम नॉट डिफेंडिंग दम. जिन्होंने बोला उनको ओम नमः शिवाय, ओम नमः शिवाय, ओम नमः शिवाय, उनको अंदर कर देना चाहिए जिन्होंने इस तरह की बदतमीजी की है. हैं कुछ ऐसे लोग पार्टी में जो बकवास करते हैं, चाहे वो साध्वी हैं, चाहे वो और कोई योगी हैं, उनको अंदर कर देना चाहिए, उनको डांटना चाहिए और उनको निकाल देना चाहिए. मगर आप पूरे देश के साथ खिलवाड़ कर रहे हैं ये बोल के कि हमारे देश में बहुत इंटॉलरेंस है. इंटॉलरेंस है क्या? इंटॉलरेंस ये देखिए, टॉलरेंस ये लोगों को, ये है टॉलरेंस कि आप सबकी बात सुन रहे हैं और किसी ने हूट नहीं किया. जस्टिस गांगुली, आपको this is called tolerance. I have seen you on television, sir, when the camera was going on to your face, how you were getting intolerant about camera. Don't do that. So my friends, this is a great country. Let's tolerate the intolerance of these people. Thank you very much.